In this video, I'm going to start with a tour of all the places that companies and people are referenced throughout Sage Construction Management. I'm going to move through different modules fairly quickly, just so you can see how companies and contacts are used. Don't worry, we'll come back to each module one at a time so you learn how to use every feature. For now, just watch. The Leads module shows projects that are in the bidding stage, so the prime contract hasn't been awarded yet. Each lead can have a salesperson, bid contact, and project management contact. These are internal stakeholders, so you'll want to add any employees who play those roles in your projects to contact management. You can send invitations to bid from the Leads module to any subcontractor, and requests for pricing to any supplier. So you'll want to include any subs and supplier organizations in contact management, as well as contact persons with email addresses so you can track those documents in the system. The Projects module shows awarded projects. I'll select a project from the drop-down to go to its homepage. Just as with Leads, projects can have sales, bid, and PM contacts pulled from employees in contact management. Projects also have a project directory, with all the companies and contacts associated with the project. These companies would include the project owner's architect, engineer, design firm, construction management firm, or owner's representative. From this page, you can assign team link roles to any external stakeholders. You can import companies directly from contact management into the project directory. Each prime contract on a project will show the project owner organization as well as the contractor, so you'll want to include all companies and contacts assigned to the prime contracts. The Procurement module references subcontractors or suppliers in all areas, requests for pricing, purchase orders, bills, subcontracts, sub-change orders. All transaction types reference the vendor. The Time and Expenses area shows labor and equipment time cards, so any workers on the project should be added as employees. Miscellaneous expense reports may also include companies such as credit card companies, suppliers, and other vendors, all of which should be added to contact management. Several additional team members will set up documents related to the project. Superintendents will fill out daily reports. Estimators or subs could send RFIs to the design team. Any stakeholders could record meeting minutes. And you'll have checklists, permits, and punch list items, all of which will reference the appropriate team member. Another important area to understand, related to companies, is that you can apply attributes or classifications to companies and then sort, filter, group, and summarize on those classifications later. For example, you might want to search for bidders who do Division 3 work, or for vendors related to a trade such as carpentry, or you might want to see all customers in a particular industry sector. You can add as many of these types of classifications as needed. If you integrate with an accounting system, you'll have most of your company information already set up under AP vendors, AR customers, and HR employees, and you can import companies and contacts directly from the accounting system. If you're not setting up integration, you can prepare Excel spreadsheets to import contacts, and I'll show you how that works in a later video. So now let's take a closer look at the Contact Management module. The Contact Management landing page shows how many active and inactive companies, contacts, and employees are found in the database. Inactive companies or contacts cannot be referenced on projects or other records. You can, however, make inactive companies active again. And you'll see overview pages like this one throughout the software. For projects, leads, contracts, and so on, with similar grids and links to take you to lists. When you open a list, you can click a link to go to a specific company. We'll cover all the details of the company setup in the next video, so for now I'm just showing you the overview. Each Sage CM subscriber organization will be set up as a company in contact management, and you can see the list of contacts associated with each company from the company's page. Contacts are persons associated with companies. The company is required for any contact person. In order to use TeamLink and other email features on your projects, for example, to email requests for pricing, submittals, subcontracts, basically any information you want to send to external collaborators on the project, the system needs to know which email address to use. Employees of your company will also be set up in contact management as employees. Setting up an employee in contact management is not the same thing as making the person a user of Sage Construction Management, but for the most part, anyone set up as your employee will also be set up as a user of the system, such as project managers, contract administrators, procurement specialists, and so on. The ellipsis button next to each record type gives a list of actions I can take, such as setting up manually, importing, or exporting to Excel, and so on. The company checkup area shows the number of companies that might be missing key data, such as companies without contacts, without insurance, and more. You can use this area to keep your contact lists organized and up to date. I'm going to click my list of active companies. You'll recall from the last lesson that we talked about master cost code lists, which are one type of classification in the system, and I mentioned that there are other types of classifications as well. I'm going to click View Companies grouped by classification, and notice that I can select the type of classification from this list. I have 3 different classifications for master cost codes set up: CSI 2016, CSI 95, and NAHB codes, and I have an additional option called Company Types. The Company Types list is a customizable classification, just like the cost code lists, and I'll show you how to modify the list in just a second. When I select Company Types, my list is grouped according to the types I have set up, so I can easily find the type of company I want. Let's take a look at My Architect, BMG Architects. You'll get accustomed to the common features in all of the Sage Construction Management windows, but since we're just getting started, I'll point them out as I go. Most records have an Edit button in the upper right. When you click it, you can modify the details for the record. Once you make changes, you can click Save and Close or Save and New, or you can click Cancel. You will find that most records also have these 2 buttons. First, the Reports button, showing the available log-style reports for that record type, and the Actions button, showing logical actions you might want to take for that record. For companies, the available actions let you send expiration notices to vendors whose insurance and licensing you track for projects. I'll talk in more detail about insurance and licensing in a moment. Further down the page, you'll see the classification list. Right now, this company has a company type Architect. I'm going to add another classification. I'll click Add, and now I can select a classification type. This is the same list of classifications I saw on the company list, including all the cost code groups plus the company types. When I select CSI and click the Search button, I see the list of all CSI codes, and I can select one or more. Once I've saved my work, I'll use the breadcrumbs to go back to the list of companies. Now when I view companies grouped by classification, I can switch the grouping to CSI. And the company I just added the classification to appears here. Let's take a closer look at those licensing and insurance areas. For each company in contact management, you can track licenses and documents in the licensing area. To add a license, I'll click Add and enter the information. Now you can track any document under licenses, such as trade certifications, license bonds, and even W-9 forms. You just need to fill in the required fields. type of document, location or jurisdiction, and the number. You can also track insurance, and I'll enter one manually so you can see how it works. You can also import insurance records from a spreadsheet, and we'll talk about how to do that in the lesson on importing. In this video, I showed you how companies in contacts are used through Sage Construction Management. In a future video we will learn how to import contacts.